welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mama Stula here again. I know it's been so long since I've been here, and quite frankly I have no excuse. I think I've just been off for no reason. So I'm here again. If you're new to this channel, my name is Mama Stula, and on this channel I talk about my journey from Nigeria to the UK, basically my progression, my life, from being a student to having my stay and all of that. Subscribe if you want to know more about me, and specifically Sheffield Hallam University. And then quite recently I added the Global Talent Visa. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking. Thank you so much for always looking out for me. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Thank you so much for checking on me. I really appreciate. I see all of you, people who come to my Instagram to ask me if I'm okay, we've not seen you in a while and stuff like that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kindness, your gesture towards me. So without any further ado, let's get right to why we are here today. And please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notification bell. Well, I know I'm not here all the time, but you know, when I come, I drop the juice. Today I'm going to be talking about Sheffield Hallam University again. So I was enrolled for the 24 months route, and I later decided to do the 16-month route. I would have done the 12 months if I had decided earlier, but it's all good. So one of the reasons why I decided to not do the 24 months is because I was looking for the placement and I'd gotten so many unfortunately. It's in one of my videos. So initially I was looking at long term when I applied for the 2 years. The second year gives me enough time to, especially for the work experience, but unfortunately it wasn't coming. And then coupled with the fact that I switched from the student visa to the global talent route in May of 2022, so there was really no point doing the the placement again, or the 24 months again, if the placement wasn't coming. And then my school also was going to automatically bring back everybody who is on 24 months to the 16 months if you don't get placement, even though they sent us a really scary email earlier. I made a video on that as well. You can check that out, where they said we either have to go back to our home countries and whatnot. I wouldn't go into details. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. So those were my reasons for switching to the 16 months. Now I want to talk about the pros and the cons, what I feel are pros and what I feel are the cons of studying in Sheffield Hallam University. And also I would be answering some questions, regular questions I get from people who are coming to study at Sheffield Hallam University. I have made a list of a few things I've written down so I don't forget anything. So I'm not going to separate them per se. I'm just going to talk about these things as I've written them down. So I'm not going to separate which is the pros or which is the cons, but I'm just basically going to talk randomly about what I feel regarding these points I've written down. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the school fees installment payment. So Sheffield Hallam has a rule of you paying your 50% before you enroll, at least in my time. It sounds good. Feels good to say in my time. Well, anyway, in my time, the rule was pay 50% before enrollment and the next 50% before February for students who are coming in September. And then for the January batch, you have to pay 50% before enrollment, and then you have till September of the same year to pay your school fees. So for the September batch, we had September, October, November, December, January, 5 months to pay up the balance. While for the January batch, you had January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So take out January, you have 8 months to pay up the balance of your school fee. So January is always better. However, there was a little extension that was given for the first installment. So we were allowed to enroll, or people who had not paid their school fees were allowed to enroll as long as you could prove that you had initiated the Form A back home I don't know about other countries what they use in paying, either Flywire or Form A, but in Nigeria most times most people used the Form A when it was still good. Or you have a valid reason for not paying the 50%. But Sheffield Hallam doesn't joke with their first installment. We all called it a bluff until this withdrew students. So the good thing is they were able to allow people enroll without making the actual 50%, or at least not all of it. And they still gave about a month, I think, before they took action. And quite frankly, the action they took was severe, because I didn't think they were going to go that far. So that's about it for the first installment of the school fees. Now, the second one, they're a bit lenient on the second one. So my set was given till February to pay up the second. Was it February or January? I'm mixing it up now, but I know we're giving till either January, second week of January, or February, first week of February, to pay up the school fees. But they somehow extended it till July, August. People still, and then there was a time they even sent us an email saying they're going to start withdrawing students and all of that. I can't remember the deadlines they gave or the emails, because it's been long, but they still were lenient, and they still gave much more time than they threatened. So for the second one, they are really flexible, but for the first one, please pay your school fees so you don't get withdrawn, because yes, they withdraw students at Sheffield Hallam University. I can't speak for other schools, even though I've heard Sunderland doing same and other schools, but I'm talking for Sheffield Hallam based on personal experience. And again, another advice is I know most people come here with the mindset of, you want to work and pay your school fees, which is doable, but given the time frame, especially for the first installment, it's difficult. It's difficult to do that, which is doable, but for the first installment, it's a bit difficult to do that, because imagine, okay, now this is how it works. When you come here, you don't get to work almost immediately. Few people do, but very, like, warehouse jobs that if I have a way, another way, I don't think I want to do warehouse jobs, so I don't think I want to advise anybody to do warehouse jobs, because those jobs are really mentally, physically draining. But a few people get lucky and get such jobs when they come, but for the most part, 2 months, 3 months, some persons have not started working. So that idea of coming to pay your first 50% when you land, it's impossible. And even if you start working, the salary is just not enough to pay, because you still have rent to sort out, you still have feeding to sort out, you still have clothes to buy, because trust me, some of those clothes you bring from home may not suffice. So at least you buy 1 or 2 winter coats and all of that. If you have somebody to stay with, that's a plus, but it still wouldn't be enough to pay that huge sum of money. So my advice is always, at least, even if it's not up to the 50%, at least 40% of the 50%, or 35%, so you know you're coming to hustle the 15%. And even that one is difficult if you don't have plans. So it's different when you're expecting certain money that did not come, so you're like, oh, okay, I have this money, let me pay, and when I come here, I'm going to do the rest. It's a bit different when you don't have any hope at all. So please have your first 50%. The second one, it's still difficult to sort out, but it's more realistic, because you have this long spread. So if you work back to back, starve yourself of a lot of things, you're definitely going to make that money, especially when you now end up getting a stable job. But other than that, the first 50%, please make sure you have it. That's about that for the school fees. Now, class schedules, I can't speak for every department, even though I had a friend who had to go to school every day. But my own department, class schedules were really good, because I was busy on Mondays. I had 3 classes on Monday, and I had 1 other day, then the rest were online. So it really gave me time to, and then fortunately for me, I was working in a place that was a bit flexible, so I could chip in my online classes and all of that, my school work there and all of that. But not everybody gets that lucky. Some persons work in a place where you can't even as much as touch your phone. So if you find yourself in those kind of places, it might be a bit difficult. But in terms of physical classes, my department was quite good, especially for the first semester. other departments, with maybe because we had a lot of people, I don't really know, but other smaller departments, it wasn't the case for some of them. Then I also had a friend who had to go to school just one time a week. The rest were done on virtually, online. So the class schedules, to be, in my own opinion, were good. The few persons I knew in different departments and my department, but just maybe very few departments, depending on where you're studying, had tight schedules. But then I also have a friend who had like four times a week physical class, but those are rare occasions. Not every department does that, but if you're unlucky to be in such departments, then, but if you're lucky to be in my departments like mine that had more virtual classes than physical classes, then that's good, because you now have time to do other things you want to do. And then it's your work schedule, the 20 hours you work, especially if you're employed as a permanent staff. Sometimes you don't have the liberty of picking when you want to work, but when you have these flexible schedules in school, it fits in properly to your work life balance, for work, school, and all of that balance. So yeah, that's about it for the class schedule, which I think is good. Then location of the school is located it's just by train station. There's a bus station also close by, and then there's also a tram station. So it's really in a good location, the center of the city, the city center. That's where it's located, so it's really good. Then the facilities. Okay, now, given where I come from, which is Nigeria, and given the schools I have attended over the years back home, the facilities here are amazing. But someone else who has been to better schools, especially abroad, because it cannot be in Nigeria, better schools abroad, they might think otherwise because they've seen better, but we don't have a lot of these things that they have here back home, at least not for my school. So for facility wise, I personally, mamas, let me put it that way, I'm going to give them a good score, because they had almost everything. In fact, I used to tell my friends, we used to tell ourselves, you don't have any reason to fail here if you're doing a BSc. If your school starts is here, you don't have any reason to fail whatsoever, because everything you need is provided for you. So it's a function of you pulling yourself to make use of those facilities, from the library, from the technological parts, the IT parts, and everything you need is there. The classes are fully digitized. Is it digitized or be digitalized? Hey, Jesus, shall you get what I mean? So everything that you need is made available for you. So if you're coming here to study for your BSc, you have no reason to fail. I think schools here have a certain standard they must meet for them to be accredited. So all the schools here, even the cheapest schools, have all of those facilities that you need for whatever you want to do. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the teaching pattern. So back home, we're drilled to pass exams, but here the teaching pattern is more or less dialogue. They teach you to know, not to pass per se. I mean, you have to pass, but they teach you to know the thing, which I feel is very, very good. So now, with the way we were drilled back home added to their kind of teaching, it makes Nigerian students exceptional, or African students. But I can't talk about Africa as a whole, because I really don't know how it works in other African countries or other parts of the world. So the way we're drilled in Nigeria academically, added to what they do here, it's like a walkover, sort of ish, because we put so much pressure on ourselves in Nigeria. I mean, the schools put so much pressure on us, so we read and read and read and read to know, while here, to pass rather, while here, that you're drilled to know. So you can comfortably talk about things you've learned, because it's more of a dialogue setting. It's more of you having an interaction with your teacher, which we don't do so much. And then aside just having interactions, you have real life practicals to do with. I have a friend, somebody I know, not really a friend, but somebody I know, who whose department traveled to other European countries just to learn part of coursework. This was paid for during the school fees, according to what I was told. Who went on excursions on those countries as part of coursework. So you're seeing what you're learning, and then they actually came up with a project. They came up with this reports and all of that. It was like a real time work project. So these things are provided for, which is a really good thing in my opinion. Now, exam and assignment. I don't think there's any school in Nigeria who does just assessments without exam. I saw it here for the first time. And maybe because we've been drilled for exams. I don't know if I prefer the exam to the assignment. A part of me prefers the exam because I know I'm reading and it will come and pass. But the essays, plagiarism is a serious crime here. It's a serious offense. It's almost like a criminal offense, if I do say so myself. So it's very different from what we know. I had one exam, and then the rest of my coursework were assignments. I think I did about 8 courses. Yes, it's been a while. It's been months since I went to school. I finished everything coursework in March, so forgive me for not knowing all those things again. I mean, I know, but just not the facts. So I think I did about 8 courses, 9 plus projects. Yes, 8. And out of them, I did only 1 exam. And I read like my life depended on it, because of course I don't want to fail. Me and my friends, we had to stay up all night. So I don't know if I prefer the exam, but while the assignment, but the assignment is just you go home, do your thing and come back. But I feel like it's harder to pass the assignment and easier to pass the exam, especially if you know what you're doing. So, but I'm indifferent as to which one I prefer, because both of them have their own upsides and downsides. The exam, I feel like you put in more work because you need to know what you're doing. You can't carry a book inside. I don't like open exams. I never did open exams. I don't know if any department did open exams, but my department didn't. And then the assignment, you go home, it's like open exam. You write things from the internet, secondary, source your data, secondary student. Sure, you get what I'm saying. So I don't really know which one I prefer, to be honest. Both of them, I like the fact that I did 1 exam, or maybe 2. I would have done 2 exams or whatever, but it was mixed. I like the fact that it was mixed. But if I'm to pick one, maybe the assignment, because the pressure was lesser on the assignments than the exam. But then I think most people will pick the exams. In fact, I don't know what to pick, but I just know that's how they do it here. Now, work-life balance. For me, for my department, it was easy. Like I've said earlier, we did more virtual learning than physical learning. So, and then I was one of the lucky ones who had a stable job from the onset, from the get-go. I had a stable job. I didn't have to do all them agency works, move from one place to the other. No. So it was good for me. And I like to think of myself as somebody who works hard and plays hard. I'm like the Ajala the traveler. I try to find time for myself as much as I work almost every time. But I try to balance. So for balancing work and school here, it differs from person to person. It all depends on you. You make out time for things you want to make out time for. Some persons work around the clock, which is not healthy. Me, I work quite a lot, but I also play a lot. I find time to do other things I want to do. It's either I'm traveling to other I don't even know what it's called here. Is it states? They're not called states, but other cities. Or I'm traveling to close countries here, European countries. Or within my city, I'm just hanging out with friends when I can. So the work-life balance all boils down on the individual. There's really no I don't think there's any laid out format or for the work-life balance. It all boils down to you and what you want. But me, I like a nice balance for both. Then the last one I'm going to talk about is my project. That's the one thing I hated about the school. Not hated, hate, because it's still ongoing. So I finished my classwork, assignments, coursework, everything in March 2022. Now, we were not given project supervisors. Nothing was said about project. Instead, we were given once, is it twice a month, 1 hour classes, seminars to come and talk about how to write project, which I think was totally unnecessary and a waste of time. Because imagine having somebody finish school since March, graduating in September, and having to start their projects in August or July, as the case may be. And now in my own case, the 16-month route, I finished my coursework in March, and then it was just September. What am I saying? This is December. It was in October, late October, we were assigned supervisors. Is it late? Is it even late October or early November? But it's November, it's not October. I was assigned a supervisor in November, and guess what? I'm supposed to turn my project in December. Though the official deadline is 13th of January, but it's a festive period. There's bank holidays, lecturers travel. So we've been advised to turn in our project 22nd of December. It's just ridiculous. You can't give me 1 month to write the project when I have other things to do. So it would have been nice if from the get-go, before we even dropped our pen and said goodbyes in March, we had started our project immediately. Supervisors have been allocated even before the end of the coursework, so that by this time everybody is relaxed, and then corrections have even been made. Most persons would have finished and we're just waiting to graduate. But now it's a rush and it's just very disorganized for me. However, not every department is like that. So I feel like mine became that chaotic because we're so many. We are so many. There's a lot of persons in my department. And mind you, we're under engineering, but I think they've moved logistics and supply chain management to business school. But as at the time I entered, and before I entered, it's always been engineering. I don't know if they've done it, but there were speculations they were going to do that. So I'm thinking it's because of the crowd they did that in my department. But I don't think every other department is like that, because they have a smaller group, but we are many. So that's one very bad thing about my department. I wouldn't say the school, I would say my department that I did not like. Additionally, the class size. So for my department were over 300. I know so because when we do the general virtual classes, there's about 300 students who log on. So we have seminar groups, which are little groups, so it makes it really easy for the learning. So yes, that's about that. So if you're considering Sheffield, Hallam universities, these are a few things. These are not all. There's a lot of things, but these are the ones I could remember. These are the things you should be looking out for, and you might likely expect to have. But please, the school fees is very serious. Make sure you have, if you have your way, make sure you have at least 70% of your entire school fees before coming. But that's almost impossible for a lot of persons, which is fine, which I totally understand. But the first installment, at least have 35% of the first installment before coming. There's no such thing as you come here and work and get the school fees paid. You don't want to spend all that money only to be left stranded. And with the new immigration laws that are coming, I don't know if you've actually taken time to study those things. It's scary. And I honestly can't, I'll be lying if I say I understand what people who are in this mess right now are going through. But I know it's not easy. So you need to have a plan A to Z if you're coming here. And then expectations, keep your expectations to the barest minimum, please. Very, low. Keep your expectations very, 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 very low. I said think of relocating as moving from Lagos to Abuja. Somebody left a comment in my last video, commented on that thing I said without actually having the common sense to reason the context in which I said it. Expectations are what kills people here. Keep it low, keep it very, very low, so that you don't get disappointed and the pressure doesn't get so much that you can't bear it and you have to leave. It's like moving from Lagos to Abuja. I have said it again with my full chest. The only difference is everything here works, unlike back home. But just keep your expectations low. So I have come to the end of this video. I try to make it as short as possible. I'm trying to do shorter videos, and please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and then thank you for staying till the end. I hope to make more videos often. I'll try. So have a good day and bye bye.